When a woman realizes you've lost interest, it triggers a significant shift in her behavior. Women are deeply attuned to attention and energy, especially from a man they've been involved with or someone who has shown genuine interest in them. This isn't just about emotional attachment, it's about the power dynamic. When you suddenly pull back, it disrupts her perception of control and forces her to question her position in your life. This reaction isn't random, it's rooted in psychology and evolutionary biology. Losing interest, whether intentional or natural, flips the dynamic entirely. She goes from feeling desired and comfortable to uncertain and vulnerable. Women often seek validation consciously or subconsciously from the men who once pursued them. When that validation disappears, it sparks confusion, self-doubt, and even competitive instincts. This is why you'll notice a woman suddenly reaching out more, trying to reconnect, or even appearing in spaces she knows you'll be. It's not just her missing your attention. It's her fighting to reclaim the sense of control she felt when you were invested as a man. Understanding this reaction puts you in a position of strength. When you master the art of holding back, you're not just regaining control of the dynamic, you're demonstrating high value. Men who act from a place of abundance rather than neediness project power. This isn't about playing games, it's about recognizing your worth and positioning yourself as someone who isn't easily swayed. Women instinctively respect and are drawn to this energy in this video. I'll break down her typical reactions when she senses you've lost interest and teach you how to navigate this dynamic. Effectively mastering this will not only elevate your dating life, but also make you more confident in all your relationships. Let's dive in. She becomes more attentive. 1. She becomes more attentive when a woman realizes you've lost interest. One of the first things you'll notice is that she suddenly becomes more attentive. Women are wired to pick up on subtle shifts in energy, and the moment she senses you pulling away, it creates a void she feels compelled to fill. This shift triggers her competitive instinct, especially if she believes other women might now be catching your eye. She'll start paying closer attention to your actions, words, and overall behavior. Even things she previously overlooked. This attentiveness often manifests as her initiating conversations more frequently, asking about your day, or trying to insert herself into your life in ways she hadn't before. You might receive unexpected compliments, hear her laugh at jokes she previously ignored, or see her actively engaging with your social media posts. These changes aren't accidental. They're her way of re-establishing a connection and getting your attention back on her. From your perspective, this is where you need to remain steady. A man who reacts too quickly to this new attention risks falling back into her frame. It's tempting to reciprocate her newfound enthusiasm, but doing so too eagerly can undo the power shift you've just created instead. Maintain your focus on your priorities and let her come to you. Respond with confidence but avoid over-investigation. Is showing a sudden interest in things you care about. She might ask about your hobbies, suggest plans she knows you'll enjoy, or even bring up topics you've mentioned in the past. This is her way of signaling that she's paying attention and values your interests again. Don't let this derail your frame. Acknowledge her efforts without losing sight of your own goals. It's also worth noting that her attentiveness might be paired with subtle signs of nervousness. She may appear more eager to please, or her messages might carry a tone of insecurity, such as asking if you're upset or if something has changed. These are cues that she's feeling unsettled by your withdrawal and is trying to understand where she stands with you. While this can stroke your ego, it's crucial to remain composed. Overplaying your hand by acting dismissive or arrogant can backfire, turning her attentiveness into resentment. Instead, keep your interactions measured and purposeful. Respond in a way that shows you're in control, but also convey that your attention isn't easily won. a high value. Man doesn't rush to reassure someone who suddenly realized they might lose him by staying calm and grounded. You reinforce the idea that her increased attention is a response to your strength, not something you need to chase or validate. This newfound attentiveness is a key sign of her realization. Recognizing and handling it correctly allows you to remain in control of the dynamic, keeping her intrigued while demonstrating your value. It's a delicate balance, but mastering it sets the tone for the power you hold. Moving forward. 2. She tests your resolve. Resolve. Once a woman notices you've lost interest, her next move is often to test your resolve. Women are naturally drawn to men who are steady and confident, but when you pull back, she will instinctively test whether your withdrawal is genuine or just a temporary act. These tests serve as her way of gauging your emotional strength, self-control, and commitment to the new dynamic you've created. How you respond will determine whether she respects you or dismisses you as someone easily manipulated. One of the most common tests is her acting cold or distant to see if you'll chase her. If she senses you've pulled back, she may mirror your behavior in an attempt to regain the upper hand. This is a calculated move designed to provoke a reaction. Many men fall into this trap, rushing to reassure her or doubling down on their efforts to reconnect. Doing so immediately shifts the power back into her hands and undoes the impact of your initial withdrawal. Instead, you need to remain composed and unshaken if she acts distant. Match her energy or maintain a calm indifference. Your lack of reaction sends a clear message. You're not playing games, and your self-worth isn't tied to her validation. This response will force her to reconsider her strategy and, more often than not, prompt her to drop the cold act and pursue you more openly. Another test you might encounter is her trying to provoke jealousy. She could casually mention other men, post photos designed to get your attention, or subtly allude to her options. This is a tactic meant to spark insecurity in you, pushing you to react emotionally and reassert your interest in her falling. For this bait gives her the control she's seeking, but staying calm and unfazed reinforces your value. A man who doesn't react to such provocations demonstrates confidence and emotional maturity, qualities women find irresistibly attractive. She might also test your boundaries by becoming more demanding or critical. This could be as simple as her picking fights over trivial matters or pushing you to explain your behavior. The goal is to destabilize your resolve and pull you back into her frame of control. Avoid engaging in unnecessary arguments or over-explaining yourself. Instead, keep your responses clear and concise, showing her that you won't be drawn into emotional chaos. Understanding the psychology behind these tests is critical. Women respect men who hold firm under pressure and don't buckle at the first sign of resistance. Each test is an opportunity for you to reinforce your value and demonstrate your independence. The more consistent you are in handling these moments with confidence and self-control, the more she will view you as a man worth pursuing by standing your ground. During these tests, you maintain the upper hand in the dynamic. This not only increases her respect for you, but also strengthens your position as a man who operates on his own terms. 3. She becomes emotionally unpredictable. When a woman realizes you've lost interest, one of the most notable reactions is a surge in emotional unpredictability. This shift happens because losing your attention disrupts her sense of control and stability. Women are highly attuned to emotional dynamics in relationships, and when they feel that balance slipping, it creates an internal conflict that often manifests in sudden mood swings, mixed signals, or dramatic behavior. This unpredictability is her way of processing the situation and, more importantly, attempting to regain control over the connection. At first, you may notice an increase in warmth and affection. She might shower you with compliments, seek validation, or express how much she values you. These moments of intense connection are calculated attempts to pull you back into her frame. She's hoping that by being sweet and attentive, she can reignite your interest. However, if this doesn't yield the result she desires, her demeanor can quickly shift to frustration or even anger. This sudden change isn't random. It's her way of testing whether her emotional fluctuations will provoke a reaction from you. For example, she might start arguments over minor issues, criticize you more often, or accuse you of not caring. These emotional outbursts are designed to force you into addressing her feelings, and by extension re-engaging with her. Many men fall into the trap of overreacting during these moments, either by trying to calm her down or defending themselves excessively. Both responses hand control back to her, which is exactly what she's seeking. Instead, your job is to remain calm and emotionally detached. Let her emotions run their course without being drawn into her storm. Another aspect of this unpredictability is mixed signals. One moment she might act clingy and overly invested, while the next she might pull away or act cold. These shifts can be confusing, but they serve a purpose to see if you'll chase her when she withdraws or double down when she acts needy. Recognizing this pattern allows you to navigate it effectively, avoid trying to decode every signal, and instead focus on maintaining your own emotional stability. Mixed signals lose their power when you refuse to be affected by them. In some cases, emotional unpredictability may escalate into attention-seeking behavior. She might post cryptic messages online, flaunt her social life, or create scenarios designed to make you feel like you're missing out. This is her way of pulling your focus back onto her, forcing you to wonder what she's up to. The key here is to resist the urge to react. A man who remains unshaken by her attempts to provoke him sends a powerful message. His value doesn't depend on her approval or attention. Ultimately, emotional unpredictability is her way of processing the discomfort of your withdrawal and trying to regain the upper hand. By staying calm, grounded, and emotionally disciplined, you show her that her tactics don't affect you. This reinforces your value and keeps you in control of the dynamic, ensuring that she has to work to earn your attention again. She tries to reignite your interest. 4. She tries to reignite your interest. Once a woman realizes you've lost interest, she'll often shift gears and attempt to reignite your desire. This behavior stems from a need to reclaim the attention and validation she feels, slipping away when she senses that your focus has shifted elsewhere. Her instinct is to re-establish her influence over you by becoming more appealing, desirable, and engaging. This phase is critical because it's where she puts effort into proving her worth in your eyes. A stark contrast to when she may have taken your interest for granted. One of the first tactics she may employ is enhancing her physical appearance. Women know how visual men are, and when she senses you've checked out, she'll work to make herself more attractive in your eyes. This could mean dressing more provocatively, experimenting with her hair or makeup, or showcasing her best features in ways that are hard to miss. Pay attention to how she presents herself around you. If she's suddenly putting in more effort than before, it's a sign she's trying to pull your attention back. Beyond her appearance, she may also shift her demeanor. She might become more agreeable, playful, or flirtatious, highlighting the qualities she knows you found attractive in the first place. You may notice her laughing more at your jokes, initiating light-hearted banter, or even reminiscing about good times you've shared. This is her way of reigniting the spark, reminding you of the connection you once had, while it may feel flattering. Remember to maintain your composure, a high value. Man doesn't instantly fold at the first sign of renewed interest. He evaluates whether her effort is genuine or simply a reaction to losing control. Another method she might use is creating opportunities for you to notice her. She could go out of her way to cross paths with you, be more active on social media, or subtly place herself in environments where she knows you'll be. This behavior isn't random, it's deliberate. She wants to remind you of her presence and show you what you're missing. While these gestures might seem coincidental, they're carefully calculated moves designed to draw your attention back toward her. Additionally, she might shift her behavior to align more closely with your preferences or interests. If you've mentioned liking a specific activity, hobby, or type of person, she may suddenly embody those qualities. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. It shows she's willing to put an effort, but it's also a test of your resolve. Don't immediately reward her behavior. Instead, observe whether these changes are consistent over time or simply a short-term strategy to regain your interest. The most important thing you can do during this phase is remain steady. Don't jump back into old patterns of chasing or over-investing in her efforts. Let her work to rebuild the connection on your terms. A high-value man recognizes that her renewed interest is a response to his self-respect and independence. By maintaining your frame, you ensure that any rekindled connection is based on mutual value, not her temporary need to reclaim control. 5. She plays mind games. When a she plays mind games woman realizes you've lost interest, one of the more complex reactions is her attempt to regain control through mind games. These tactics are designed to confuse you, trigger emotional responses, and shift the dynamic back in her favor. Mind games are her way of testing your emotional discipline and patience, often leaving many men second-guessing their decisions. Understanding and navigating these games with confidence ensures that you don't fall into her traps or compromise your position. One common mind game she might employ is creating ambiguity about her feelings. She'll oscillate between acting like she's over you and dropping hints that she still cares. For example, she might post cryptic messages on social media, hint at dating someone else, or act indifferent in person, while sending late-night texts that suggest otherwise. The goal is to leave you confused and wondering where you stand. This tactic aims to make you chase her for clarity, shifting the power dynamic back to her. The key here is to avoid seeking reassurance or falling into her web of mixed signals. Maintain your emotional detachment and let her inconsistency speak for itself. Another classic move is provoking jealousy. She might mention other men or deliberately make you aware of her newfound social activity. This isn't accidental. It's a calculated attempt to elicit an emotional reaction. If she sees that you're unsettled or threatened, it validates her ability to control your emotions even after you've pulled back. The best response is calm indifference. A man who doesn't react to these provocations demonstrates confidence and high value, which often frustrates her attempts to destabilize you. She might also attempt to manipulate your sense of guilt or obligation. This can take the form of reminding you of things you've shared, pointing out how much effort she's put into the relationship, or even playing the victim by appealing to your emotions. She's hoping to make you question your decision to withdraw your interest. While it's natural to feel compassion, don't allow yourself to be guilted into overextending. Responding from a place of obligation instead of genuine interest undermines your position in more extreme cases. She may try to test your resolve through direct manipulation, such as threatening to walk away entirely. This is often a bluff to see if you'll break and beg for her attention. If you give in, she regains the upper hand and confirms that your withdrawal was temporary. The right move is to call her bluff. A man who can let her walk away, if necessary, communicates an unshakable sense of self-worth. Mind games are designed to provoke an emotional response, so your greatest weapon is emotional control. The moment you react impulsively, you lose the upper hand. Instead, focus on maintaining clarity, Patience and your personal boundaries. A woman will respect a man who can see through her games and remain unaffected by staying grounded and consistent. You reinforce your value and keep her guessing, flipping the power dynamic in your favor. 6. She attempts to reassert dominance. When a woman realizes you've lost interest, she may try to reassert dominance in the dynamic. This is a defense mechanism that arises from her need to feel in control, particularly when she senses that you've shifted the power balance. Her goal is to regain the upper hand and prove that she's the one steering the relationship. This phase can be subtle or overt, but it's crucial for you to recognize it and respond with steady confidence. One way she might reassert dominance is by becoming dismissive or condescending. She could downplay your value, mock your choices, or even highlight her options as a way of undermining your self-assurance. For instance, she might make comments like, "You're so different lately. It's not as attractive as you think," or mention how other men are interested in her without directly stating it. This is a calculated move to provoke insecurity and get you to seek her validation again. The worst mistake you can make here is taking the bait. Don't defend yourself or argue. Instead, stay calm and let her words fall flat. A man who doesn't react emotionally to such tactics demonstrates inner strength and self-worth. She may also attempt to dominate by reclaiming control over the communication dynamic. This could mean reducing her availability, taking longer to respond to messages, or cancelling plans at the last minute. These actions are meant to convey that she's still the one in charge of how and when the interaction happens. Many men respond to this by chasing harder, attempting to re-establish the connection on her terms. Resist this urge. Instead, mirror her behavior by prioritizing your time and remaining indifferent to her attempts at control. Another tactic is her becoming overly critical or judgmental. She might start pointing out flaws she never mentioned before, or question your decisions and actions in an attempt to destabilize your confidence. For example, she might say, "I don't understand why you're doing this. It's not the person I thought you were," or criticize your goals or lifestyle choices. This isn't genuine feedback. It's an attempt to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Rather than engaging with her negativity, maintain your composure and stick to your path. Confidence in your own decisions is the ultimate rebuttal to her critiques on a more social level. She may try to dominate by displaying her independence or social value. She might post pictures with friends, attend events without telling you, or emphasize how well she's doing without your attention. This is another attempt to provoke a reaction, aiming to make you feel like you're the one losing out the correct response. Focus on your own life, invest in your goals, improve yourself, and show that her actions don't affect your progress. A high-value man doesn't get sidetracked by such displays. Ultimately, her attempts to reassert dominance are rooted in her discomfort with losing control. By maintaining your frame, staying indifferent to her provocations, and continuing to focus on your own priorities, you reinforce your value and show her that you're not a man who can be manipulated back into submission. A calm, steady demeanor will always outlast her attempts to dominate. 7. She pursues you more. She pursues you more. Aggressively, when a woman realizes you've genuinely lost interest, her final move is often to pursue you more aggressively. This behavior stems from a mix of curiosity, frustration, and the fear of losing someone she values. Women are naturally drawn to what feels scarce or unattainable, and when you've made it clear through your actions that her hold over you has diminished, it triggers her competitive nature. At this stage, her pursuit can become more obvious, deliberate, and persistent. One of the clearest signs of this shift is her increased communication efforts if she once waited for you to text or call. First, now she's initiating conversations regularly. She may check in with you out of the blue, send you messages that seem random, or comment on your social media posts. More often, these aren't casual actions. They're deliberate attempts to stay on your radar and re-establish a connection. The key here is to remain measured in your responses. Don't rush to reciprocate her enthusiasm. A calm and slight distant approach keeps the dynamic in your favor. Another tactic she might employ is making her intentions more obvious. If she used to play hard to get or maintain a sense of mystery, that behavior may fade. She might openly express her desire to spend more time with you or reminisce about moments you shared in the past. For example, she might say, "I miss how things used to be," or "We always had such a great time together." While it can be tempting to fall back into old patterns, it's important to recognize that her increased effort is a reaction to your change in behavior. Don't immediately reward her pursuit. Let her actions prove her intentions over time. You may also notice her becoming more competitive. If she senses there might be other women in your life, she'll likely step up her efforts to stand out. This could mean going out of her way to impress you, showcasing her best qualities, or even subtly undermining potential rivals. For instance, she might start highlighting how much she understands you compared to others, or emphasize her unique connection with you. These moves are designed to position herself as the most valuable option in your eyes. Your response should remain consistent. Acknowledge her efforts without allowing her to regain control of the dynamic. Another sign of her aggressive pursuit is her increased availability. If she once played games with her time or made you wait for her attention, she may suddenly become more flexible and eager to meet up. She'll likely prioritize seeing you over other commitments, hoping to rekindle the spark that initially drew you to her. While it's fine to accept some of these efforts, you should remain selective. A high-value man doesn't rearrange his priorities just because someone else starts showing interest. Ultimately, her aggressive pursuit is a direct reaction to your decision to pull back and focus on your own value by staying grounded and not rushing to meet her. Halfway, you reinforce the notion that your attention is earned, not given freely. This dynamic keeps her invested and ensures that any renewed connection is on your terms, not hers, when a woman realizes you've lost. Conclusion interest. Her reactions reveal a lot about the power dynamics in the relationship, from emotional unpredictability and mind games to aggressive pursuit. Each move reflects her attempt to regain control, and your attention as a man. Your focus should remain on emotional discipline, self-respect, and maintaining your frame by not reacting impulsively or abandoning your priorities. You establish yourself as a high-value individual who cannot be manipulated. The key is consistency. Stay grounded and let her actions speak louder than her words. In doing so, you control the narrative and keep the power in your hands.